Hi, I'm Ophi YouTube Videos. I am a feminist and a lesbian, and I make conversational commentary essays about both of those things. And it is Pride Month. Happy Pride! I have absolutely no way of verifying this, but I feel like most of you watching this are in the community. Happy Pride. I've got a pretty extensive history of buying gay books at thrift stores and not necessarily reading them, and I had a thought that a good way to resolve the part of that habit that I'm less proud of would be to read them and to share what I find in them with you. One of my favorite thrift store finds that I had not previously read, and honestly, I did kind of skim through parts of it, is this book called So You Wanna Be a Lesbian. It's by Liz Tracy and Sidney Pokorny, and it is delightful. It's a delightful read. I already knew. I mean, look at that cover. Just take that in, right? I already knew that I was gonna love this. I loved the cover, but when I say delightful, like, I thought that this would be, this is a book from 1996. I expected it to be a time capsule, which it certainly is, but I expected it to be charming at times and mostly poorly aged, and I was actually pretty impressed by how well it aged. I think this book kind of rules, especially for how old it is. Again, I did skim through certain parts. This isn't really a book review or a full-throated endorsement of everything in it, so much as it is me hanging out and saying, I found this really funny lesbian book at the thrift store. Lesbians have always been very funny, and they are funny in a way that feels identifiable to the way lesbians are funny now, even nearly 20 years ago. And that's really cool. So, I just wanted to talk about this book about being a lesbian from 2 years before I was born. I always make this point when I'm talking about lesbianism on my channel. Trans women are welcome here. They are included in statements I make about lesbianism if they identify as lesbians. That's not difficult. I say that because they are welcome, and also because trans misogyny in my comment section gets you hidden from the channel permanently. I'm not trying to dog whistle to anybody. If you are a radical feminist and you are kind to trans people, you're one of my people and I like you. If you're a radical feminist and you use that as an excuse to hate trans people, my videos are not for you. Here's the introduction. This book came from an idea that came to a friend of mine who is full of good ideas, Cecilio Cancelaro. She envisioned a series of how-to books for various subcultural identities. How to be a lesbian performance artist, or how to be an anarchist, etc. You get the idea. A few months later, So You Wanna Be a Lesbian was born, and you're holding the result in your hot little mitts. In approaching the subject, the idea was never to write a book for people who aren't lesbians. It was to give those who are some fun reading material, a little practical advice, and perhaps some insight along the way. If non-lesbians are reading this, it doesn't mean you should give up. The humor here is, we hope, broad enough that you can enjoy it too. Just remember, though, laugh with us, not at us. We'll know the difference. It's amazing how much more there is out there now. Films, music, literature, and resources than even 5 years ago. There has been a boomlet in dyke culture, and believe it or not, there wasn't enough room to include everything. Any omissions are ours, and we don't pretend to know everything. The keyword here was eclectic, not exhaustive or scholarly, and yes, we were hoping for some laughs. The reactions we got when telling people about it were cautious. A few laughed, some outright condemned it, and most said they would reserve judgment until they actually read it. So, for the doubting Thomasinas, we are eagerly awaiting your opinions. We hope you enjoy reading this as much as we did writing it. Saying much more would detract from the book itself, so stop slogging through this and get in there. Liz Tracy, December 1995, East Village, New York City. It's got a table of contents and lots of different places that you could immediately flip to, which is how I have mostly consumed this book, and I think how it was made to be consumed, really. There is a lesbian aptitude test, which I actually went ahead and put online for all of us to take according to the answers given in the guide. You can find that in my description below. Credit, of course, to the authors of this book. I've just digitized it for 2024. You'll find yourself scored between 0 to 22. Sorry to break this to you. We're surprised you managed to figure out you're a lesbian. But luckily, you're an insightful, sensitive person who has found this book. There is hope yet. 23 to 43. You are someone with varied interests and is not afraid of going her own way. 44 to 65. You are probably a lesbian overachiever. Perhaps you might want to introduce some elements of other subcultures into your life in a quest to broaden your horizons. They also demystify lesbian myths. Lesbian myth number 1 being, there are homosexual recruiting offices located in New York, San Francisco, and other secret locations throughout the United States. And the answer being, actually, lesbian Americans are born, not made. You can't just show up and declare your intention to defect. It's not like we're a refuge for the heterosexually disaffected. There are rigorous tests which must be passed. Along with an aptitude test, see Test Your LQ, page 1, you must take 3 of the following lesbian board tests: Women's Studies, Riot Girlology, Queer Theory, Vegetarianism, Cinema Studies, SMBDIOU, Interpretive Women's Music Dancing, Feline Veterinary Medicine, Body Modification, Mechanics, Motorcycle or otherwise, Arts and Crafts, Fashion, High or Thrift Store. The applicant may choose those tests which best suit her abilities and areas of life concentration. After passing, there is a secret initiation ritual, not unlike a bat mitzvah, combined with a baptism, except instead of becoming a woman, you are now a woman-identified woman. Then you go to Provincetown to celebrate. That, of course, reminds me of, the only funny joke in Friends about Carol having the books about being a lesbian, because she has to study for her test. Also, this one, truly, genuinely, this feels like a tweet. This feels like the formula to a tweet, right? Lesbian myth number 3. There's always a man and woman in a lesbian or gay couple. Answer, again, another simplification used to oppress us and make it easy on straight people who can't deal with complexity. This awful stereotype has kept queer people down for centuries. The truth is, in every lesbian or gay couple, there is one who is Mary Tyler Moore, and the other may be one of 4 characters: Rhoda, Lou Grant, Murray, Sue Ann Nevins. Important note, the phrase "get over it, Mary" stems from the Mary identification of same-sex couples. When you hear this being used, it is an almost certain indication of which one is the Mary. Lesbian myth number 5, all lesbians have cats. This is a blatant lie, an untruth, a falsehood. Not all lesbians have cats because many lesbians have allergies, a lot of allergies, to a lot of allergens. The book then moves into some terminology. I really just like it. I like that femme is described in a way that I also pretty much would describe femme. A lesbian whose self-identity is that of a feminine woman. This is an erotic identity and not indicative of somebody who feels uncomfortable with her lesbianism. Both butches and femmes had very difficult times with straight society as they were the most visible lesbians, thus incurring a majority of discrimination and violence. They were also dismissed as mimicking the patriarchy by their more androgynous sisters, who missed the message of subversion in the coupling. And they define assimilation in this book, published in 1996. As advanced by Bruce Bauer in his book A Place at the Table, the proposition that either A, we're just like everybody else, so we should be given our rights, or B, we should be more like everyone else, so if the drag queens and leather dykes would just get the hell back in the closet, we, quote, normal homosexuals, end quote, could get our rights. Parentheses, yeah, right, go tell that to Jesse Helms and see how long it takes for you to want to strangle him. There are some do's and don'ts of coming out. Do check for emergency exits. Don't wear your Eileen Wuornos t-shirt while coming out to your parents. Do smile. A smile is a good way to disarm people. So is karate. Don't pat them down before talking to them. This may set a needlessly antagonistic tone. It then moves into some flirting and dating advice. Bad places to meet lesbians. Republican conventions. Countries in which lesbianism is punished by actual physical and psychological violence inflicted by the state. Parentheses, not like the US, where they punish us by other, more subtle means. Interstate diners. Parentheses, no one knows why, it just doesn't happen. Revival meetings. Sexually transmitted disease clinics. Parentheses, not that they aren't there, but it's just that you might want to wait until they've finished their medication. Beefsteak Charlies / Red Lobsters. Parentheses, simply not a lot of carnivores among the tribe. Pretty unsurprising to me that in a lesbian book from the 90s there are lots of vegetarian and vegan jokes, but of course, So You Want to Be a Lesbian is full of them. We have always poked fun at ourselves and each other for this. I am, however, a meat eater on Team Lesbian. There are translations of what the abbreviations in personal ads mean. I would love to make a video about gay personal ads. I don't quite know what the angle about that is yet, but I think they're fascinating. I have some old Lesbian Connection magazines that have a lot of personal ads in them, and I love looking at them so much. Question and answer section about lesbian dating, advice for moving in together and moving out, breaking up, also breakup songs suggested. Just the entire category of vampire is listed under Dyke Cult Heroes, a few headings away from Tonya Harding as well. Mother of all bad lesbian jokes. Question: how many lesbians does it take to screw in a light bulb? Answer: that's not funny. Variations. How many lesbians does it take to screw in a light bulb? 2. One to screw it in, and another to say, that's not funny. How many lesbian feminists does it take to screw in a light bulb? 2. One to screw it in, and Andrea Dworkin to say, that's not funny. What do you call it when two butches have sex? Banging tools. What do you call two butches bonding? Monday Night Football. What's a butch's favorite place to shop? The Snap-on Tools outlet. What do you call two femmes having sex? Bumping pocketbooks. What do you call two femmes bonding? Expensive. What's a femme's favorite place to shop? Anywhere. What did one lesbian say to the other after they slept together for the first time? The moving truck's coming at 10. Okay, actually one more section here. Real world role models includes librarians, teachers, your unmarried aunt, and nuns. It ends with another lesbian aptitude final exam, and when you turn to the scoring page it says, in the tradition of alternative higher education institutions, this test is not graded. Ha! Fooled you. The experience of taking this test is an education in itself. Be assured that if you've made it this far, you're going to do just fine. The future of our people is filled with both great promise and ominous threats. By the time this is published, Americans will be deep in the throes of what promises to be a heated national election. As much fun as it is to be, quote, on the team, end quote, there are responsibilities that come with the territory. It's important for you to do your part to help make your city, town, or trailer park safe for your sisters and brothers. In the name of all that is good and woman-centered, we wish you well on your journey through this world and simply say, Via con Gaia. I really love this book. I really love feeling connected to lesbians who have been around so much longer than me, feeling through lines through the sense of humor that they had, that lesbians who I know and love today have. I love being a lesbian. I love being gay. I love reading this book and feeling validated and laughing the way that I hope that lesbians who find my videos today laugh and feel validated. I just felt like it was worth flagging that, you know, lesbians have always been like this. They've always been funny. The sense of humor doesn't seem to have changed very much. I have like a lesbian parenting anthology for some reason. I think I'm probably less likely to have enough to say about that one to make a whole video because it won't be just funny jokes. But I also have like a big lesbian health book that I think is fascinating. I've poked through it a lot. Again, I love picking up stuff like this at the thrift store, especially because this book is like a little bit water damaged. So I especially like making sure that instead of it getting a sad life where it never got read again, we all talk about it now. I will link, if I can find this online, I'll link to it in my description. I'm not positive this is still in print. I hope it is, though. It's from 1996. Have you read any books like this? Do you have any books that you would like me to talk about on this channel? One of my titles, I'm not sure in which order my Pride videos are coming out, one of my titles is a Mr. Ratburn level win. I need to talk about that cartoon rat coming out as gay. I think about it all the time. Happy Pride. I love you. Our community has always existed. Our community always will exist. We have always been funny. We have always loved each other and been in community with each other. it's really cool to continue that. If you want more lesbian videos from me, I have a playlist with some other related content. I've got a Patreon if you're interested in more videos from me. I also have a Ko-fi if you're interested in like a one-time donation thing. Thank you so much to everybody who already has helped out on the Patreon, on Ko-fi, by liking, commenting, subscribing to me. I love you all very, very much. I will be back to talk about something else very soon. Bye.